Hello everybody, so welcome back to part 2 of Compare and Contrast. Now, I will try my best to put the last two parts into one part, just part 2. And at the same time, please get ready your student notes because in this part, you will need to practice on the T-chart using real, authentic sources for your source-based questions. Okay, so now, before we go into the lecture straight, let us just recap a little bit on what the T-chart is about. So, this is the thing that we compared in the part 1. We compared Mr. Hulk and we compared Mr. Thor. Okay, these two things. So, the T-chart is this. Alright, for those who don't know, the T is here where I am shading. This part is the T. Okay, this part is what we compare. So, in the center here, we have what we call the basis of comparison. Ayo, why the writing like that? Basis of... something is wrong with my stylus. Comparison. Okay, I'm sorry. Something is wrong with my stylus, but you get what I mean. Revise, okay? So, the two things that we are comparing, we put in column 1 and column 2. The topic that they are talking about, we put in the center column under the basis of comparison. So, under this topic, okay, for item 1 which you are comparing, okay, what is it about? You put on the left side. Because this is item 1. Item 2, you put on the right side. So if you see that the two things are the same, okay, if you see the two things are the same, they are similar. If you see the two things are different, they are different. So Hulk and Thor, alright, are different in their suit color. Okay, so now for the social studies context, obviously, we have exams. So in like, is the Hulk better or is Thor better? Of course, we are not comparing Hulk or Thor. We are comparing sources. So this is how the questions will usually look like. There are 3 kinds of questions. The first kind is this. Okay? This one. Okay? How similar are sources A and B? How different are sources A and B? To what extent are sources A and B similar? Or to what extent are sources A and B different? Now this is the first type, even though there are so many questions, okay? This is the first type because they actually require, this is very important, please put a star at the side, okay? This actually requires you to tell us, okay, one similarity and one difference. You must give both points of view. Even if they ask, to what extent are sources A and B similar? You still have to tell me, in the first paragraph, they are similar. In the second paragraph, they are different. Must be 1 and 1. Very important, must remember. Must remember, if you only give 1, you are unlikely to pass the question. The second type, okay, is in what ways are sources A and B different? Or how are sources A and B different? Okay, please take note. These two questions here are very similar. The only different thing is that the word different, oh, I'm comparing these two things. The word different here, okay, this one happens as the second word. And this one happens as the last word. When the different appears at the last word, okay, you will know that this is the second type of question, which is you only is required or you only are required to write 2 differences. So meaning first paragraph, the difference between source A and B. Second paragraph, also difference between sources A and B. So this is only 1 point of view. Okay, the last type is in what ways are sources A and B similar or how are sources A and B similar? Okay, so again, this one here is different from this one. So when similar appears as the second word, you need to give both points of view. When similar appears as the last word, you need to give only two similarities, meaning paragraph 1, similarities between sources A and B. Paragraph 2, also similarities between sources A and B. Please remember this. Don't be tricked by the exam question. Save every mark that you deserve. Okay. So, moving on to the T-chart that you use to help you with your exams, obviously, you do not compare Hulk and Thor. So, the idea is the same. Item 1 which you are comparing, okay, is on the left side. Oops, is on the left side. Item 2 which you are comparing is on the right side. So, you see the T very clearly now, right? It's an empty T-chart. So, the T is right here. Okay? The T is right here, and the basis of comparison remains in the center. Now, so on top of the left and right column, you write the source, okay? It might not be source A that you're comparing, it might be source C or source D. Then you change accordingly. Source C and source D. Change accordingly. Okay? For our exam purposes, we are not testing on the abilities of the sources or the suit color of the sources. What are the things that you can compare? We can compare, number 1, source type. Okay, you should remember what source type is. Okay, source is just like, source type is basically, is this a textual source? Is this a pictorial source? Whatever. Okay, then the second one is provenance. Now, before I tell you what provenance is, try and recall what provenance is. We have gone through quite a few times. Okay, and the last one, okay, is the source content. What is wrong with my stylus? Okay, so the last one is the source content. Okay, source content meaning what you read in the source. So what in the source is different. Okay, so let us try, all right, with a real source. Now this source is actually printed, given to you in your student notes, so please take them out. Okay, so these are the two sources which we will be practicing on. If you have not taken out your notes, please do, because the sources are actually on your notes as well. So yeah, these two sources are talking about means testing, the effectiveness of means testing. Okay, so take a moment to read both sources. Find out for each source, are they saying that means testing, okay, is effective or ineffective? Source A. This is an opinion, okay, expressed by a journalist, okay, about means testing, published where? On a local newspaper. Alright, so he is saying, or she is saying, that the bedrock of the healthcare system, or the basis of the healthcare system, okay, is that no one should be denied basic medical care at basic rates. Means testing is for the large middle class who will be the most affected. What is large middle class? Okay, the large middle class is, there is high income level, middle, and then low. So middle is those who are not earning as much as the high income. Those who earn a lot, they are called higher, those from the higher income range, and usually they are not very much subsidized by the government because of means testing. They are not covered. Okay, so means testing, therefore this person is saying means testing is for the larger group of us who are mostly in the middle class, so we will be the most affected. However, let's move on. If the person does not have MediShield or other insurances, okay, the cash amount that has to be paid out of the person's pocket can still be very high. So what happens to people with long-term illnesses? Okay, so if this person does not have has long-term illness, okay, and they have to be in and out of the hospital many times a year, okay, each bill may be affordable because of means testing, but when the bills are added up, they could be crippling. So is this source saying that means testing is effective or ineffective? Okay, figure it out first. Next, source B. A Singaporean's view on means testing published in a local newspaper. I must comment that the Health Minister's new method of assessing the amount of subsidy a patient receives is a breath of fresh air. Now, you must understand what is the meaning of a breath of fresh air. Okay, it's like when you go outside of your room, you take a deep breath. Okay, you get the fresh air, you are relieved. Okay, so these people, oh dear, are relieved. So, the new method of assessing the amount a subsidy of the subsidy a patient receives is therefore means testing. Okay, so he is saying that it helps the poorer people become more relieved. Okay, he has introduced what we can be described only as a fairer and more flexible system. If things go well, we may never see lower income people having a hard time paying for their healthcare anymore. Okay, so this one is saying middle class, so those who are not earning a lot. This one is also saying for lower income, those who are not earning a lot. So do you see a similarity already when you talk about this like that? So these are some of the points that you can do. You can actually annotate, make notes, all right, before you dive into the question itself. All right, so now that we have actually read, okay, and in your mind, please think, I'm not going to give you the answer yet. Please think, is source A saying that means testing is effective? Or is source B saying that means testing is effective? Okay, you will need this later. So here is our T-chart once more. Okay? Remember the first thing that we need to compare, okay, is source type. So the source types, the different types of sources are listed here. Okay, it can be textual, cartoons, posters, photographs, pictures, whatever. So these two sources, both sources A and B, are both texts. Okay, so they are textual sources. All right, simple as that. So how do you present that in your answer? You will need to write sources A and B are similar in the source type. This is taken from the middle column in your T-chart. Okay, so you just slot in the answer in the middle column. Source type, all right? Both sources are textual sources. So this is taken from the left and right column of the T-chart. Simple. This will give you actually like this. L, 1, 1. You get 1 mark for this question. So it's a good thing to write, okay, when you have no time and you need to answer this question. Write this first. Guarantee yourself 1 mark. What is the next thing that you need to compare? You can compare the provenance. Now, just now I asked you to think and recall what provenance is. Provenance basically is the origin of the source, okay? Where can you find the provenance? All right, let us recap, bring you back to the source. Say, this is the source, the provenance is this. Okay, these two are the provenance. So they tell you that this is by a journalist on a local newspaper. So origin is taken from a local newspaper. This is taken also from a local newspaper. So on the T-chart, the left and right columns should be local newspaper. Because of that, they are similar. And this is how you present on your essay. Sources A and B are similar in provenance. Again, this is the center from your T-chart. Both sources are taken from local newspapers, the left and the right side of the T-chart. This will also give you L1, 1. Alright, now what happens if you write both source type and provenance? Okay, the total marks for this one is also L1, 1. Okay, so if there is no time, do not write both. You will just get 1 mark. Choose one to write. Okay, now let us move on. This is level 1 answer. Means when we say level, it means there's not much depth. not much thinking in your answer. We are talking about thinking and critical skills in your source base. So this is clearly what you just see on the surface of the sources. How do you move on to the next level? You need to show me that you have analyzed the sources in terms of their content. So let's look at the content. The content, okay, is this. Just now we were talking about, both are actually talking about effectiveness of means testing. So immediately you can just put that in the basis of comparison already. Okay, effectiveness of means testing. Now, do you see that I have actually replaced the word source content underneath? Okay, this is very, very important when you are writing the essay later. Okay, so now for source content, what do you do? For source A, they say that it means testing is not effective. So you put your inference here. Source B says that it is effective. You put your inference here. Then, okay, you may highlight the source on your paper or input the source in the chart. As in the evidence, sorry, not source, the evidence. So the evidence from source A is each bill may be affordable, but when the bills are added up, they could be crippling. If the things go well for source B, we may never see lower income people having a hard time paying for healthcare anymore. So first one is still saying that things could be crippling. For source B, okay, he's saying that they won't have a hard time anymore. No hard time, okay? They can just use based on the subsidies provided, okay, on the calculations by means testing. They never have to pay so hard. They don't have to worry about paying anymore. So this one obviously is effective. So since these two are different, so sources A and B are different in saying effectiveness of means testing. Okay, so now the first thing I need you to notice is this. Okay? The starting sentence. Alright, you see here, both are saying, you start off with similar in source type. Remember the T-chart, the center, source type. Similar in provenance. Over here, you do not say similar in source content. This part. You directly dive into the topic that you're talking about. Effectiveness of means testing. So you do not write sources A and B are different in talking about the source content. No. What is the source content that they are talking about? They're talking about the effectiveness of means testing. So you immediately put that inside. Okay, so then you come up with your clue. Alright, the evidence from the source. Now this is when you take out your inference skills. Remember the 4 C's? I need the center 2 C's here. The clue and the connect. Source A says that means testing is not effective, while source B says that means testing is effective. Okay, the clue comes now. Source A says that each bill may be affordable, but when the bills are added up, they could be crippling. This is your clue. This means that means testing does not help if the added up cost of healthcare is still too much. Connect. Then you repeat the same thing, clue and connect for source B. Source B says that if things go well, we may never see lower income people having a hard time paying for healthcare anymore. This means that poorer people will no longer have to struggle to pay for their healthcare expenses. Note again, never ever copy from the source, never ever use any words from the source, okay, in your connect. Okay, notice, okay, actually added up shouldn't be used. Okay, let me introduce you a new word here. Let me try and write, okay? It's called accumulated. Okay, accumulated. So accumulated costs of healthcare. Accumulated means you add everything up, accumulates, okay? Added cost of healthcare is still too much, alright? So this is the answer in the source content. So what are the things that you need to take note in the answer for source content? You need to therefore take note of this. In your source content answer, you must have the basis of comparison. You must have the conclusion, what each source is saying. Please underline, because I didn't highlight this for you. Okay, so write their conclusion. Then you need the clue, you need the connect for source A, you need the clue, and you need the connect for source B. And the most important thing that you need is your conjunction. Always use conjunctions. Conjunctions are basically linking words. So these linking words must show me that you are comparing something. So however means on the other hand, the opposite point of view. You are going to present the opposite point of view after comparing them yourself. Okay, so conjunctions. Very, very important. No conjunctions, you may go back to L11 or L12. Okay, so now let's say the question of this source-based question is, okay, how similar are sources A and B in talking about means testing? Alright, I need therefore you to look at the similarities in the content. This is your task. Okay, so look for these similarities and try doing it on your T-chart. Okay, so please pause the video, look at the sources, and write in your answer in the T-chart. So once you're done, okay, let us look. Alright, just now earlier I actually pointed out one similarity, which is means testing. Here is for the large middle class and here is for the lower income people. So basically, they are for the poorer people in the Singapore society or poorer citizens of Singapore. Do you get that? So this is how it should look like in your T-chart. So here once you say that it's poorer citizens, all you got to do is to pick out the clue. Okay, it's for the large middle class and for the lower income people. So how does it look like in a paragraph form? Take your time, pause the video, try and write the answer in the paragraph form. Okay, try to write your answer in the paragraph form following the BOCCC format that I gave you earlier. Okay, and while writing, please remember to use conjunctions. If you have finished writing, check that you have conjunctions. Okay, so do you have something like this? Sources A and B are similar in saying that means testing has the most effect on the poorer citizens of Singapore. This can be seen from source A, which says that means testing is for the large middle class who will be the most affected. So you have already here the basis of comparison stated, the clue for A, and the connect for A means testing only caters to Singaporeans who are not earning high income. Then you give me a conjunction. Okay, do you have the conjunction? Similarly would be a good conjunction in saying that both sources are similar. Easy enough to remember. Source B says that we may never see lower income people having a hard time paying for healthcare anymore. So this is the C for source B, and here's the connect for source B. This means that means testing will help citizens who do not earn as much, okay, so lower income people. They would not have to struggle to pay for healthcare, right? Means they do not, this means testing will help them to cover the expenses, okay? To cover their expenses, which is why they do not have to worry about paying so much anymore. Okay? So now here is a suggested template. Okay, what do I mean by suggested template? These are the things, okay, that your answer would need to have. Okay, that your answer would need to have. The basis of comparison, the clue, the connect, the conjunction. And this is some of the words that you can use in your answer to link all these things together. You may not necessarily need use all the words in here word for word, okay? But just make sure you have these elements inside. If you really have problems coming up with your own answer, then yes, you may use these words. Okay, so over here in this template that I've provided you is also in your notes. Okay, I have also suggested conjunctions. So similarly, and other than similarly, there is at the same time. Okay, there is other than however, there's on the other hand, or conversely. Conversely is a good one to use. Alright, so, okay, I have given you a sample answer here. Alright, the question, study sources A and B, how similar are these sources? Recall the type of questions that we have. Do you need 2 points of view or only 1 point of view? And which point of view is it? Starting with, so how similar are these sources? Alright, since how similar is in the question, in your first paragraph, please address what is in the question, meaning your first paragraph should start by saying sources A and B are similar. Okay, this question requires you to have 2 points of view, so you need to have paragraph 2 as different. Okay, if the question is how different are these sources, please switch these 2 paragraphs over. Start with sources A and B are different. Okay, in your first paragraph. Address the question first, always. Alright, so now I managed to squeeze part 2 and 3 into just one part, one section. So this is the only video that you have. Okay, you will be given a practice paper to do. So please practice it and bring it to class, okay? So we can go through the answers together. So make sure you practice and prep for exams, all right?
So good luck and study hard. Thank you.